I'm in Miami, Adam, and these young lads walking around with wigs on, with Paddy the Baddy wigs. This young man from Liverpool has captivated the world.
That's the star power right now of Paddy.
It is.
He could do a football stadium in the UK. There's no doubt in my mind about it.
I've finally seen the performance I needed to see from Paddy. World class.
There are no more questions regarding Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. He can mix it. That was dominant from start to finish. Welcome to Uncaged on the talkSPORT MMA YouTube channel. I'm Adam Catterall. It is a pleasure to be in your company. It is a pleasure to be back in the company of this man, currently on a world tour. The one, the only, Mr. Brendan Loughnane. Shades on, sunshine. Miami backdrop today. How are you?
Fresh off the CPI stem cells. Up the boys.
Look at you, t-shirt on. Someone's had some free injections.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, Adam, it's a pleasure to be back and loads to go at today, mate, let me tell you.
Listen, a few people have been getting on at me in the comments section of various things, saying, when are you and Bren getting back together? I said, listen, the man's having a little bit of a break. He's getting himself all sorted. He's on a little bit of a world tour. Listen, we're mates, and I don't even know where you are from day to day, mate. Just bouncing around various parts of South America. You're currently in Miami. God knows where you're going to be next week. It's just the way it is, isn't it, pal?
Yeah, neither do I, Adam, mate. You don't know where you're at. But listen, sometimes I wake up and have to check my Google Maps. What a life.
Listen, you've earned it, mate. Years and years and years of work. Now you've got a tiny bit of time. You might as well go and enjoy
Exactly.
it. But I've no doubt that you were glued to the action at the weekend, mate. UFC 314. Miami went down big time. That main card was something special, wasn't it?
Oh, mate, did it go down, Adam? It captivated me. I mean, incredible performances, some great talking points. But I know we're going to start with the man himself from Liverpool. So let's just get into it.
Mate, I've never seen anything like it. I'm in Miami. You're in Miami right now. You know what the vibe's like. People, they love their music. They love their style. They've got a little bit of a vibe going on about them, but they've never seen anything like Saturday night when Scouse House started bouncing round the Kasaya Arena, mate. It was absolutely wow when he walked out, and the performance itself was top draw. There are no more questions regarding Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. He can mix it. That was dominant from start to finish.
Yeah, mate, I'm in Miami, Adam, and these young lads walking around with wigs on, with Paddy the Baddy wigs. And I'm like, wait, what is going on here? This young man from Liverpool has captivated the world and probably is the biggest star in the UFC right now, him and Ilia Topuria, right now, right this second. It's been incredible to watch his rise. And I've finally seen the performance I needed to see from Paddy. World class.
Right. Come on, then. What do you want to happen
World
next?
class.
Because there's only one way that we can go. It's only up. So what do you want to see next?
Right. So I've been thinking about this ever since the fight. There's some very, very interesting fights. Personally, as a fight fan, the fight I'd like to see the most is Charles Oliveira, just because they're both so good on the ground, so good. I just want to know how good Paddy actually is on the ground. Because Charles Oliveira, in my eyes, has the best jiu-jitsu and submissions in MMA. So I want to see Paddy Pimblett and him roll about, and let's see who can really pull these subs off. Because after seeing that performance, I'll put absolutely nothing past Paddy. I wouldn't.
It'd be amazing, wouldn't it? That fight. If they can make that fight, that would be absolutely sensational. It's a weird scenario at 155 right now, because you've obviously got Islam Makhachev, who's the king, and we need that standout contender. We've had Dana come out and he said, listen, Arman Sarukian isn't going to get that next shot. So people have been kind of trying to eliminate what that title eliminator is going to be. Is it going to be Charles and Arman in a 5-rounder? Is Justin Gaethje going to be in that conversation? Dustin Poirier's announced that he's only going to have one left. You've got two lads coming up in weight, in Max Holloway and Ilia Topuria. There's a lot of options here. And obviously, Paddy's performance at the weekend has really propelled himself into that conversation. You put a performance like that in, you rock the microphone like that, you capture the imagination of the audience, you're in that mix by default, you are there. It's going to be interesting to see how they play this out over the next 6 months, let's say, because this time next year, we could genuinely be sat here saying that Paddy Pimblett is next in line. And I personally believe he's one win away. He is one, and of all those names that I've just mentioned there, Any one of those names will do it. If he gets in with any one of them names and beats them, he will fight for the title in the fight after that. There is no doubt in my mind about it, mate.
I mean, he really is in shark-infested waters now, though, Adam. Like, when you actually, when you look at them names, I just literally look up and down that list and think, wow, I'm in for it here now. This is it. This is it. This is what you've worked your whole life for. This is where we're at. And man, Arman Sarukian, you know, Justin Gaethje, names like that. The terrifying names, Adam. But if there's one man that's up for the job after a scene on Saturday, it's Paddy Pimblett. So you know what? Respect to him. It's been a long journey. He's had a lot of doubters. And he finally proved them all wrong. This was the fight, Adam, to do it.
Do you want me to give you my matchmaking?
Tell me. Go.
Right. Okay. Now, this is beautiful because I don't think there's any wrong answers here for any of these fights. They could go in any direction. So get involved in the comment section. Let us know what your matchmaking would be at 155. This is what I would do. Islam Makhachev, we have got an opportunity here for a super fight. Now, I know that people will turn their nose up at this because there's not too much in it for Islam Makhachev, but come on. Islam Makhachev, Ilia Topuria is a super, super fight, right? So let's make that fight happen.
Yeah, agreed.
Charles Oliveira, Arman Sarukian. Put them together. I know they've done it once before. I know that Arman came up, but we've heard what Dana said, so let's do it over 5 rounds this time rather than 3. Put them two together. Dustin Poirier wants one last dance. He is currently 1-1 with Justin Gaethje.
Yeah.
Let's find out. Let's do part 3. For Paddy, are you ready?
Tell me.
The current holder of the BMF is Max Holloway. Let's see if the Baddy really is the bad guy.
Wow.
Paddy, Max, let's go.
Yeah. I mean, I never even seen that one coming, but wow, what a fight. And like you say, every name you've just reeled off there, Adam. And there's some great fights. I mean, who doesn't want to see Poirier and Gaethje again? I mean, come on. Them two absolute animals. Great fight. Some great piece of matchmaking. I've always said, Adam, why are you not the UFC matchmaker? I mean, why have they not signed you, Adam? Because you come out with sometimes curveballs where I go, wow. I never even thought of Max Holloway. He was never even in my thought process, but what a fight.
The thing is, Bren, and I'm sure everybody appreciates this, and I'm sure the comments will be all over the place, I don't think there's any wrong answers.
Yeah,
so even if you were to do Charles and Ilya with Arman getting the shot and Dustin and Paddy being put together, whatever, man, all of them work. Every single one of them scenarios works so much. They're in a really good spot, the UFC, with 155. We all know who the king is. That's Islam. And that's probably the biggest debate as to who he fights next, which way it's going to go there. But the rest of it, you could just chuck them all up in the air, wherever they land, put them together. There'll be some fantastic fights.
Yeah, I mean, half of them have already gone at it with each other as well. When you look at the list of them names,
yeah,
you know, it's just really good to have a new, fresh, young name in that mix with them guys. I mean, you know, I know the UFC loves coming to England. You bring Paddy and Max to England, don't you? Don't you?
Oh.
I mean, come on. Can you imagine the scenes at the Echo? Could you imagine it? I don't even think the Echo's big enough for that fight.
No.
Do you?
No, mate. It could do Anfield. That's the star power right now of Paddy.
It is.
He could do a football stadium in the UK. There's no doubt in my mind about it. I think, though, that the UFC, they need stars. We don't know where we're at right now with these stars. Is John Jones going to fight again? Where's Sean O'Malley at? Is Ilia Topuria going to be taking over Europe? Paddy the Baddy Pimblett is the star right now, as you rightfully said at the start of this. I think they'll try and keep him in America, mate, because if he's bouncing Miami all over, he could easily do that in New York or Vegas, couldn't he? So, you know, that's where I think he's going to be.
Like I just said, young lad from Liverpool, selling out arenas in Miami, yeah? Young lads walking around with wigs on. Like, we're in a crazy era, you know, and I'm just so happy for him, mate. And I know that what he wanted to back it up was the performance. Like, it's all well and good getting thrown in the limelight, but we've finally seen it. I mean, let's just talk about the ground control and the jiu-jitsu and the improved striking and, you know, the charisma. Like I say, it's a front runner now with him and Ilia Topuria, who are the two main stars in the UFC right now. But like you say, it is crying out. It's like the UFC is crying out for a Paddy Pimblett right now, and it's accumulated at the right time with his star power, and then finally his performance as well.
Imagine if we can get to a situation with the history that these two have got together, not
Oh,
liking each other. Imagine if we could get to a scenario where Ilia Topuria fights Paddy the Baddy Pimblett for the title.
I mean, yeah, and even the fact that he's got Conor McGregor shouting his name now. Don't forget it was supposed to be Conor versus Michael Chandler. Now he's even threw his name in the mix of a Paddy the Baddy versus Conor McGregor. Like, we're just talking incredible themes worldwide.
Wild times, man. Wild times. What now for Michael Chandler, do you think?
Should be retirement, Adam. I mean, we just spoke off air. Maybe one more. I personally don't even want to see him in one more fight. The damage Michael Chandler has accumulated in not just his UFC career. You go back and watch his Bellator fights. It's astronomical. That's the only word I can put on the damage that man has taken. And it'd be good to see him pack it in because the performance, Adam, it just wasn't good enough. Just wasn't good
No.
enough for this level of fighting. And he was battered. He got absolutely battered and ran through. I think it's time, personally.
If you look at his record in the UFC, he's 2-5. The 2 wins on debut against Dan Hooker. I mean, that one's aged really well because Dan Hooker's on a resurgence right now. But at the time, it was COVID. He couldn't train Dan Hooker. And Michael caught him at the right time. Then you've obviously got the win over Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson was on the slide at that particular point. But if you look at the ones where he's lost, bar the last 2, he was always competitive in those fights. The first one with Charles, he's moments away from becoming the lightweight champion. And then Charles flips it on its head. Charles ends up winning the title that night, and Michael ends up falling short. When he's fought the likes of Gaethje, Poirier, he's had moments in every single one of those fights.
Agreed.
But because he's an entertainer, he maybe zigs when he should have zags. He maybe makes the wrong decision because he's not actually thinking strategically rather than thinking entertainment factor, and he ends up coming up short. Now, in my opinion, there's no shame in that because one, the level of guy that you're getting beat off, and actually the context of the fight, you can look at it and go, mate, you're just giving the fans what they want, and we're all here for that. However, the last 2 performances, the second time against Charles, he looked way off it. Way off it. He was dominated by Charles for 4 rounds. He came into it in the last round, but Charles had won it quite comfortably by that point. Against Paddy, he was battered. From start to finish, Paddy dominated him. He beat him up, he took him to deep waters, and he drowned him. And he looked every moment of his age in that cage. You've talked about the miles on the clock there, mate. You know what it's like, taking that damage over a period of time. He has taken a lot of damage over a period of time. He looked every inch of his age. I just think the length of time he sat out waiting for Conor McGregor has caught up with him now. He's rusty as it comes, and he just looked way off the pace against Paddy at the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I always give you the fighter's perspective. I'm looking at it from his eyes and his shoes and the age and the miles. I mean, he's probably got the most wear and tear in the UFC right now. If you look at some of these fights, they're always, I get dropped, drop you, I get dropped.
Yeah.
Sort of like Justin Gaethje. But, it's just a little bit, you can really see the wear and tear on Michael Chandler in his performances. I mean, the state of his face after that fight, he was mauled. He was battered, Adam. So, personally, for him, himself, and his family's sake and everything, I just think that Michael Chandler's had his day. But who am I? Do you know what I mean? Who am I? That's just my personal opinion on it.
Yeah, it's hard, man, because he is one of those guys that wants to become champion. That's what he wants to become. But I think everybody will conclude, and maybe even him now will conclude that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Are there fights in the UFC for him? I personally think there are.
Yeah.
He's a fantastic character. He's brilliant to be around on a fight week, mate, because he gives media everything that you want. He's a top fella. I like him a lot. And I do think that there are some fun fights within the UFC. Conor's a fun fight. If Conor wants to fight again, him and Michael Chandler is actually a boatload of fun. Personally, I would not be against, given what I watched at the weekend, Michael Chandler against Pitbull. I wouldn't be against that. I know they've done it before in Bellator. Pitbull looked way off it in his fight with Yair. I don't think he should be fighting ranked fighters in the UFC.
Yeah.
And I think Michael's in exactly the same position. I don't see anything wrong with that. I know that Pitbull was at 145 at the weekend, but he's done 155 previously. I don't think there's a problem with putting them two together for a bit of fun, bit of nostalgia.
No, I agree with that. And like I was saying, these guys were the top end of Bellator, but we're talking a decade ago. Like, when did they last fight? I mean, I know it's probably around that time ago, wasn't it? So, I mean, you got two guys here that have been thrown in the sharks at the UFC. You know, they've been thrown in with the top 10 straight away, top 5. And again, they just looked off it. And yeah, speaking about Pitbull, great fight. I was always interested to see Pitbull in the UFC. And it was always going to be one of them, wasn't it? Like, what's he going to look like? I mean, they give him the worst style matchup in Yair Rodriguez. I mean, let's give you a guy that's great at using his range. He's going to pick you all day. You know, your style's to get inside and move your head. It was never going to work against Yair, in my opinion. And again, way off it.
I'll come back to Pitbull in a minute because as well as obviously matching him with Michael Chandler maybe as a fun fight, I've got one more other fun fight suggestion, but I'll save it because we've celebrated Paddy and he was magnificent and the future for Paddy is so bright. Who knows where it's going to be? We've just spitballed a lot of ideas there and any one of them is going to be ace. Lightweight's on fire. But we've also got to celebrate the king of the featherweights, man. Alexander Volkanovski. 2 knockout, back-to-back defeats. He's gone past the age of 35. You know the stat I keep throwing at you, mate, with these lower weight divisions. I keep throwing it out there. It doesn't happen. People don't win. They don't defend in this weight division once you've gone past 35. Until now, Volkanovski has blown that stat out the water, mate. Sensational performance.
Where do I even start with this man? Like, listen, what an inspirational. That's the only word for it. He's inspirational. Like, you know, I personally know what it's like to come off a knockout loss. It's terrifying, Adam. But to come off 2 back-to-back when you have been that guy for so long and then you have to pull yourself together and put in a performance like that, picture perfect, looked in incredible shape, really got his stuff together. And that guy, what an inspiration, ladies and gentlemen. If you've not watched the Alexander Volkanovski fight, take yourself back. It was vintage. It was Max Holloway-esque. Yeah, it was like he was back. He's rolled back the years. He went against Adam Cattrall's stats. It never happens. Yeah, watch it. What a performance. Amazing.
Listen, I know that recency bias sometimes takes over me on this show, mate, but I'll say it. I think Alexander Volkanovski is the greatest featherweight of all time. And the reason why I'm saying that is we've obviously got Jose Aldo in this conversation. We've got Max Holloway in this conversation. We've got loads of great fighters that are in this conversation at 145 pounds, right? But Volkanovski climbed the mountain once. He beat Max Holloway inside the octagon to become champion. Then he beat him again. Then he beat him again. He defended it against the top contenders, the likes of the Brian Ortegas and the Yair Rodriguez's.
Yeah.
Okay? He then gets beat off Ilia Topuria. That was coming off the back of a lightweight loss to Islam Makhachev. To climb the mountain again, this is why I'm classing him as the greatest. Because climbing the mountain again, once you've done it once, been there and stayed there, to climb it again off the back of what he did, given all the science, all the logic being stacked heavily against him, against the younger, fresher, most dangerous contender that he could possibly go in at that time in Diego Lopez. And to not just edge it, mate, he was awesome from start to finish throughout the whole course of the 25 minutes. He was absolutely fantastic. He took a couple of licks. He got back up. He got back on his game plan. That jab was absolutely outstanding. He dug his toes in when he needed to dig it in. That performance at the weekend, mate, just for me puts the cherry on top of the cake. And I don't want for this to come across as disrespect to Jose or Max or any of them guys. Jose was undefeated for 10 years. I get it. I get all of that. But when you compare the numbers and what Volkanovski has done, and it could even go even further if he goes on a bit of a defense now, I just think that he is the best 145er that we've ever seen.
I mean, his resume speaks for itself. Look at the fights. Look at the names on there. At that age, to really pull yourself together and come back with that performance again, I just can't speak enough about it, mate. I could sit here all day with praise for that man and what he did. I mean, again, I'll just touch on it. I know what it's like to come off a knockout loss and to do it coming off the back of two. I wish you had it on, mate, because I'd take it off to you. Legend of the sport, legend of a fellow. And we are back in the Alexander Volkanovski era, aren't we? We're back in it. We thought it was gone.
Listen, as a fighter, you've climbed the mountain, right? And you've got there. And last time out, it didn't go your way.
Yep.
We spoke about it on the show. Do you look at something like that and think to yourself, hang on a minute. Yeah, maybe a bit of a rest, maybe a little bit of time away, maybe a little bit of recalibration.
Yeah.
I can get back to it, man. Do you take inspiration from that?
No, again, that's why I use that word inspirational, because it was nothing short of that. And like you say, the low weight divisions and the stats, everything was against him, and it is an inspiration. That's the best word I can put on Alexander Volkanovski, because he defies all odds. He just rips up the textbooks, doesn't he? And says, no, listen, I'm not a stat. I'm not going to be a stat. And then comes out and does that. I just can't wait for what's next. And I know you've got loads of options, so throw them at me.
Hang on a minute. I'm going to ask you. When you're fighting again then next scene is that you've just been watching Volkanovski getting all pumped up, mate. Let's get going.
I mean, he wasn't that... listen, Alexander Volkanovski, like I say, I'm sat in Miami. CPI stem cells are kicking in. Give me a minute, Adam.
All right, mate. Okay, fair enough. Listen, what I loved about Volkanovski in the post-fight press conference, and this is absolutely not surprised whatsoever that he's done this. He wants to fight another 2 times this year, whereas I'm like, listen, hang on.
Wow.
I get it, Al. I get it. Completely get it. I would enjoy the rest periods, because we're in the Indian summer of that career now. He can't do, even though he's just defied the odds, I doubt that he's going to be able to do what he did this year, what he did maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So therefore, the rest periods, I think, are going to be super important in order to keep him at the level that we saw on Saturday night. I personally would aim for 1 more this year, enjoy the time, dedicate maybe a full camp at the back end of the year. Listen, it's Alexander Volkanovski. He's probably going to go another 2. If he can squeeze 3, he'll probably squeeze 3. But I like the fact that he's gone Movsar Evloev, because I'm here for meritocracy, mate. I'm here for the best guys. I'm here for, okay, he might not necessarily be the sexiest from a fan point of view, Evloev, when we're talking about fan-friendly styles. But with Volkanovski acknowledging, listen, this guy's put some work in. He's undefeated. Exactly. He's not getting his crack. I'll give him his crack, because I can see the benefit of maybe taking his O off him or something like that. I love the way that Volkanovski was talking. That's the talk of a proper champion, not shying away from any challenge that could be high risk and very low reward for him if he comes through it. I love that, and I'm all for that fight.
Again, I go back to the word inspirational. Everyone else would have been calling out Paddy the Baddy. They would have been calling out all these type of names, wouldn't they? Anyone that they can get a bit of clout off, or they can get a big name or pay-per-view sale. No, I'm going Movsar, because I know Movsar is the true number 1 contender right now in everybody's eyes. But, he might not get the accolades he deserves. And I actually picked Movsar at the start of the year, if you don't forget, because Movsar is that guy. And I do think that is the fight to make. Incredible stylistic matchup. From an MMA purist point of view, like myself, that's the fight I want to see. Might not be great for the eyes, but it's the one that everyone... it's going to give the clearest number 1 contender. And Movsar has earned his strides. And what a fight.
Yeah. Listen, great fight at featherweight. I think we've also got the number 1 contenders fight with Yair Rodriguez and Diego Lopez. They don't like each other, obviously, do they? We saw them at the press conference going back and forth. I think we met that fight and put it in Mexico, mate.
Wow. Let's just touch on Lopez as well, though. What a performance. From your first time, fighting at that level, because you've got levels. You've got all the levels he's fought, and then I think Volkanovski was just a slight level above, and it showed on the night. The experience, Alexander Volkanovski was able to use rest periods at time and get on the jab when he needed to and cut off the ring when he needed to. And I just think that was the experience level at fighting at the highest level is what we see. The 5 rounds started to take its toll on Diego, and I can definitely see him being champion. Just give him another year, give him another 2
Yeah.
years, and he's definitely going to be champion. What a fighter!
Great fighter, man. Him versus Yair in Guadalajara, it'll be absolutely sensational. If you could put Mosvar and Volkanovski together at some point. We've also got Lerone on the march. Can we do and Arnold Allen? I was going to put Lerone and Arnold Allen together.
Aaron Pico. Can I just touch on him? Can I just touch on Aaron Pico? Like, I'm such a fan of that guy. Yeah, been watching him for years. And the featherweight division. Now you've just thrown another curveball in the mix. What an incredible fighter this guy! Like, guys, if you've not seen Aaron Pico, he's now been thrown into the featherweight mix. You've got a guy here that's got world class. No, I'm talking world class boxing, Olympic level wrestling, and he's in his 20s, just been thrown into that same mix as the Yairs, as the Volkanovskis, as all of them. And what a fighter, mate. I just had to touch on that because I've just seen that he'd signed. Incredible.
Well, let's stay with that a minute, because there is noise that Pico's going to be fighting Evloev. So he could literally jump the whole queue if he puts in a wonderful performance against Movsar Evloev. And it's also good that you brought him up, because people will look at, obviously, the performances of Michael Chandler coming from Bellator and what he's done in the UFC. You'll now look at Pitbull and his performance coming from Bellator into the UFC. And then, obviously, you've got the same moniker a little bit with Aaron Pico coming from Bellator into the UFC. But it's different. And the reason why it's different is age. Aaron Pico's done a lot of his learning in Bellator as a very young man. He's had them bumps. Yes, he came in with a lot of height. He fell off the train a little bit, but he's then been able to get back on the train under the radar. And he's young, as you've just pointed out. Chandler came in mid-30s. He's now in his late 30s. Pitbull's come in late 30s. Their time has passed, with all due respect. This is the perfect time for Aaron Pico. And don't get me wrong, he might have a few bumps, because there is a level jump. There's no doubt about that.
There is.
But Aaron Pico's got enough time and enough ability to be able to really shape a UFC career here. And he can do it over 5 to 6 years rather than needing to do it over 5 to 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, you've got them names that you've just mentioned, the Arnold Allens, the Larones, the very, very interesting featherweight matchups now. It's an incredible division. And then you look at Yair Rodriguez, and I've always put him right at the top of that as well. I mean, again, Volkanovski showing the levels in that fight, because he shows that he is that one level above the names we've just mentioned. But throwing at Aaron Pico in with a Yair Rodriguez, that's the fight I'm making. That's the fight I want to see. I mean, come on. You've got the wonder kid, who's on the outside. He's kicking, he's flicking. You've got the Aaron Pico with the Freddie Roach head movement. Yeah, incredible fight. I mean, the featherweight division has never, ever, ever looked so good. Let
me sprinkle something else into you, mate. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Jean Silver of the Fighting Nerds. He's coming. He's coming.
Wow. What a fighter, mate. What an incredible fighter. I mean, I'll be honest, the first time I've really watched him, I've really sat and watched him. You know, who expected a ninja choke? Do you know what I mean? Like, out of nowhere. I mean, he's just known for his banging. And he thought, you know what, Bryce? I'm going to take you into your world and I'm going to sub you. Incredible performance, mate. Another one. I mean, throw him in the mix as well. What a fighter.
Yeah. Listen, it's a hot gym at the moment, the Fighting Nerds, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he was fantastic at the weekend, Jean Silver. That's 4 in the UFC, 4 finishes. He's got the personality. He's got the crowd on his side. He's finishing people, and he's made a real surge at 145. I won't be surprised if he gets himself a top matchup as well. If I was Jean Silver, here we are. We're on matchmaking duty here now, right? If I'm Jean Silver now, I'm after that name value in my next fight. The guy that I call out is Aljamain Sterling. That's who I call out. Former champ, weight division below. He's ranked higher than me. Tough task. Don't get me wrong, it's a tough task. But if you could take out Aljamain Sterling, you are now in the mix.
I mean, yeah, you do look up and down. You've got the Brian Ortegas. You've got people in that mix that have been there for a long time, Adam. And age is catching up with them. And you're just throwing in these absolute young butts, again, like the Picos, John Silvers, who are just hungry lions. You can tell, watching them perform, you can just see the hunger, can't you? You could see the hunger. And you could see that Bryce Mitchell, I've been here for too long now. I've been in this mix. I've been in this name. And I've just seen what I want to see when I watch the UFC. And I want to see hungry lions like him. He went in, grabbed it by the scruff of the neck, and I can't wait to see his future.
Yeah. Listen, all in all, UFC 314 was
Yeah.
absolutely brilliant. Off the back of it, Khabib Nurmagomedov's been doing a bit of interviewing. He's been asked questions, obviously, about Islam Makhachev and what comes next for him. We kind of touched upon it a little earlier on in the show. I think, listen, the obvious answer for Islam now is to try and become a multi-weight world champion, go up to 170 and challenge for that, because I think people might argue with me that there's more work to be done at 155, but I think he's been brilliant, and I'm all for legacy chasing. If there's an opportunity to go up, then do it. But Belal currently holds that belt. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens at 315. If Jack Della Maddalena beats Belal, I think Islam's off straight away, mate. I think he's off straight away in order to try and challenge for that belt. If Belal holds on to it, then it'll be interesting to see who gets that defense at 155. And obviously Habib's been saying this week that Arman Sarukian's the toughest challenge. Yeah, he's probably saying that because Arman is a 155er. Personally, I think Ilya can mix it at 155. I think he can. And I think he would go up and I think he would cause problems to Islam Makhachev.
I think that's the only fight to make. I mean, I'm just taking myself as a fan. Let's just take all the meritocracy out of it. Yeah, that is the fight that I actually want to see. I mean, people say you shouldn't jump up weights, right? You shouldn't be able to just get a title shot. Sack all that, mate. We're in the entertainment industry. And Islam and Topuria is the biggest fight the UFC can make outside John Jones and Tom Aspinall. So make it. Let's go.
I'm with you. We're still flirting with these 145, 155 divisions. We mentioned Laron's name. How impressed were you with Laron against Josh Emmett a couple of weeks back?
I mean, Laron has just come on leaps and bounds. I mean, this was his biggest test. You got a Josh Emmett who, if he connects, will send you to the shadow realm at any point in them 25 minutes. Used his footwork, not getting the love that he deserves in this division right now. But he's earning his strides. Personally, for Laron now, I like the look of the Arnold Allen matchup. I do. I know they're both Brits. But as a fan, I like the look of that fight. I do.
I know, mate. It's horrible, isn't it, when you know both lads and you like both lads and you kind of don't want that Brit on Brit violence, but it makes so much sense.
I mean, it does. That's the fight to make. And, let's see how good Laron actually is. Let's see where his ceiling is. And Arnold, again, doesn't get the love he deserves. So let them two fight each other and let's see who the better guy is.
Yeah, he's been out injured, hasn't he, for a bit, Arnold? So I don't know what his time frame is to be coming back. So be interesting to see what the noise is on that. From Laron's point of view, he's undefeated in this division. So therefore, the noise at the top of the tree with Yair, Evloev, obviously everybody wants a shot at Volk. Everybody wants to try and fight the king and dethrone him. He's only a couple of fights away. We talk about Paddy being a couple of fights away from a title shot. He's only a couple of fights away, is Laron, from challenging at 145.
I think he's a performance away, Adam. I think he's a performance. I think he's a knockout away. I think he's a big moment away. He really needs to go in there and steal a moment now in his next fight. And he puts himself right in the mix.
Yeah, I don't see you as far wrong there, mate. Listen, this weekend, Orlando's the destination for the PFL. The UFC's taking a weekend off before Ian Gary gets back at it, taking on Carlos Prates, which is an unbelievable fight. We'll get into that in a minute. But it's the PFL this weekend, and Fabian Edwards is in action against Impa Kasanganay in the PFL. Tough fight for him.
Oh, mate. Impa Kasanganay is a machine monster of a human being. One of my favourite fighters to watch. PFL have put together one of the best main cards that I've actually seen. With the merge now, we're finally seeing the talent from both sides merge. Great fight. Amazing fight. Like I say, you just reminded me that it's in Orlando. It's down the road from me. So, looks like I'll be on job, Adam. Looks like I'll have my talkSPORT. Looks like I'll have my microphone and I'll be on job.
Absolutely, mate. It should be a good little weekend, that, because obviously there's some good other fights. I actually think out of the series so far that they've been putting together, this might be the best fight card so far, mate. Agreed.
Come on, it's a tough time for Fabian now. We're going to see, he's had a few losses. Johnny Eblen, two losses to him, and we'll see where Fabian's at in this fight.
In total contrast, bit of a shambles with the GFL. We kind of predicted this when it all came out, and they were talking about the amount of money that they were throwing at particular fighters to come out of retirement and all this. And both of us were chatting to each other, going, "How are they funding this? Where's this dough coming from? That just doesn't make business sense. Surely that's not going to happen." Well, it hasn't happened. The first 2 shows that they did have scheduled have had to be cancelled. It's just been a mess from start to finish, this, hasn't it?
Well, it goes back to the old saying, when something's too good to be true, it usually is. And I just feel sorry for all these fighters, man. Who just put in camps, left their families, trained, been sold a dream. It was always far-fetched. And like Ariel came out and said, I'd be very surprised if a single show ever happens.
Yeah. Yes, indeed, mate. But like you say, it's always the fighters that get it done. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They're the ones that always they're always the collateral damage in a scenario like this. Fingers crossed, something comes for those people that sign contracts and what have you. Anyway, mate, looking ahead to next week, Kansas, Ian Gary stepping up on I think this was 24 days' notice to take on Carlos Prates. Outstanding attitude, outstanding fight. I think it's going to be a fantastic main event in Kansas.
Well, yeah. I mean, I called Carlos Prates from the absolute start, from his UFC debut. I sat on here and said, watch this guy. Captivated himself and the audience. Fighting nerds glasses on. Knocking people out. What more do you want to see? Do you know what I mean? Incredible. Ian Garrett also. Amazing performance against Shavkat. Can he build on that? You know, interesting matchup there.
That's your main event next week in Kansas. The UFC, like I said, taking a little bit of a break this weekend. PFL will get the attention when it comes to the world of mixed martial arts, but then the UFC will return next weekend with Ian Gary and Carlos Prates in that main event in Kansas. Oof, we all need to go and have a little bit of a sit down because 314 in Miami was pretty sensational. He's still out there enjoying that Miami heat, man. It's beautiful.
It was
very, very jealous.
Really,
I've come home to a lot of... You're not missing anything here, son. Manchester's raining.
You know what it was? I feel like the UFC really needed this card, you know. I feel like we talk about there was a lot of cards that were just cards. There was no moments. You know, we've not had an amazing moment since Gaethje and Max Holloway. Do you know what I mean? Since the last second knockout. And we had a full card of amazing fights. And it gets me excited just being a fight fan again after the performances.
Joseph, it's interesting that you say that because it's a year since Max Holloway knocked out Justin Gaethje at UFC 300, mate. And there's a couple of moments. I mean, obviously they've had them signature events like a Noche in the Sphere, and they've had a couple of little bits where people have maybe fallen off. Tom's had some good moment, like a good moment in Manchester or whatever. But it's not really been a 12 months littered with, oh my God, that, and that. Hopefully now that is the catalyst at the weekend, because even the numbered cards leading into the weekend, there's not been them big moments. This was a fantastic card on paper, which lived up to expectation, maybe exceeded expectation. I mean, we haven't even mentioned Dominic Reyes and his fantastic knockout of Nikita Krylov. Now he becomes a contender at light heavy. It's all brilliant stuff. Loads of brilliant things happened. I look at the card for 315, and I'll be dead honest, I'm looking at it and thinking, the star power might not necessarily be there with Bilal and Jack. But hopefully that momentum's going to kick on now, and we get a few of these little bits leading up towards International Fight Week, because the UFC need it. You can't take your eye off the ball. There's other people out there trying to get a piece of that pie in the world of mixed martial arts. I know that Dana's busy going into the world of boxing, going into the world of slap and all this type of stuff, merging and bringing in the wrestling and all this type of stuff. But let's be honest, we're here for the big show. We're here for the creme de la creme of MMA talent, and it exists inside the UFC, and they have a duty of care to the audience to deliver the big stuff. They delivered it in Miami. Fingers crossed we get more of it coming over the next few months, mate. Yeah,
I'll finish this one then. Oh, Paddy the Baddy.
There you go.
Paddy the Baddy.
And on that note, that's it from us here at Uncaged. He's out in Miami to go and enjoy himself a little bit further. I'm here in rainy Manchester, but we'll be bringing you more MMA content right here on the talkSPORT MMA YouTube channel. So make sure you like and subscribe. We'll be back soon to get stuck in to more upcoming big fights.